Before we get cracking with this countdown, I'd like to start with a bit of good news for once on this channel, and that is that I am pleased to announce that again I've been nominated for the Non-League Bible Best YouTuber Award. So if you could just click the link in the description and click and vote for me. It is under my real name, which is Dan Bell. It would be massively appreciated. I know it's been a tough year for the channel, but we've got an opportunity now to end it all on a high. So let's push on, and massive thanks for all the support. Yes, hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. I was meant to be doing the Northallerton Town Women versus Richmond Town Women's game this afternoon, but unfortunately that game has been beaten by the weather. There's some pretty torrential rain up north over the last couple of days or so. I knew before I'd even wrapped up the recording of yesterday's video that it was going to be off, but nevertheless I did still want to make a video of some kind today. So this is as good an opportunity as any to do this one, and I'm going to be talking you through my top 10 European experiences today, like my top 10 favourite grounds I visited and why, and hopefully this video can be something in which it can maybe inspire one or two of you guys to visit these grounds that I do mention on these clubs, because there really are some good ones. There's been quite a lot of good ones as well. I have had some to leave out because this ultimately is a top 10 video, but nevertheless, let's get into this. At number 10 is the Het Kasteel, the home of Sparta Rotterdam in the Netherlands. They had quite a few trips to the Netherlands over the years. Seem to have a very good personal record in the Eredivisie, and my experience here was certainly no different. And as it goes, I very nearly didn't even get to this game that I went to, which was in April of 2018 against VVV Venlo. At the time, it was sold out, and I was willing to pretty much accept defeat. But like as it goes, I actually was kind of talking to someone on Twitter about my plans I had for that weekend. I said that I was hoping I could have gone to Sparta Rotterdam, but it wasn't to be. And luckily enough for me, the Sparta actually spotted that tweet and said that I'd won the last two tickets for that game. So I actually got into that game for free. But I did pay for some stuff while I was there. I bought a scarf off them. I bought I bought food and drink and that kind of thing. So I didn't just go be a total freeloader with it. And regardless of that, this is a stadium that is really, really worth visiting in my opinion. A lot of charm, a lot of character. They're quite small, like a lot of the Eredivisie grounds are, but they're pretty unique kind of entrance to it. Obviously, Het Kasteel translates to the castle in English. So if you ever get the opportunity, do visit this ground. It was I was lucky enough that night that game turned into an absolute classic. Sparta running out 3-2 winners, scoring late on. Ultimately, they did get relegated at the end of that season, but all the same, a really, really memorable night, and a ground that I'm glad that I can say that I visited. At number 9 is the Stade Maurice de Frasne, the home of Standard Liège in Belgium. The first ever ground I went to in Belgium, a game I did bring to you on this channel. They were beaten 2-1 by Ghent. It was a game that took a little bit of a while to get going, but all the same, I thoroughly enjoyed my time at this stadium. It's an absolute belter of a ground, isn't it? If you've been already, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's notoriously steep, but I think the displays that they put on before the game, the atmosphere in the ground, it was a really, really good experience. And for my first ever taste of Belgian football, it definitely did inspire me to go back and go to the two other games that I have been to in Belgium since. So well worth a visit, this one in my opinion. Of the three Belgian grounds I have done, I would have to say that this one has been the best, so for me, well worth its place in this list. At number 8 is the Stade Jean Bouin, the home of Paris FC, of course, in France. The most recent European ground that I have been to. I've got to say, really did enjoy this one, yeah, they're quite easy to get to on public transport. There's a really good atmosphere in there as well. Obviously, the FC Nantes fans did help that night, and yeah, the food was pretty good. It was a pretty neat stadium, so all in all, it was a really good experience. I'd heard very mixed reviews about French football and all that kind of thing, but I've got to say, like this in many ways did pleasantly surprise me, and I am glad that I did go that night. And of course, a game that will be best remembered for the winner that FC Nantes scored. So let's just have a little bit of a watch of that again, and then we'll move on to what number 7 is. And number 7, it's the BB Bank Wildpark, home of Karlsruhe in Germany. Again, you could maybe argue this one it was massively helped by the game that I did get to see there. But all in all, even before the game started, I was really enjoying myself. It was a really good matchday experience. I really enjoyed my time in Vergelbrau before the game. It wasn't kind of too difficult to get to. Quite an interesting ground in the fact that it's basically in the middle of a forest, hence the name Wild Park. But yeah, in terms of the experience, the fans were really good that day. They really generated a good atmosphere, which obviously was reflected on the pitch with quite a performance that day against Magdeburg and pulling off a 7-0 win. But yeah, I've got to say, yeah, that I really did leave that game with a really good vibe, and I would thoroughly recommend that ground to anyone. At number 6 is Euroborg, the home of FC Groningen, a ground that we visited on this channel in May, and I've got to say, yeah, I just had such a good night that night. It was a really good atmosphere, really nice stadium as well. Obviously, Groningen ran out 6-1 winners over Volwijk that night, so naturally really good vibe around the stadium, around the city after that game. So yeah, for me, this one is well worthy of its place in this list, and one that I would thoroughly recommend. I know when it comes to the Netherlands, like people do tend to just maybe stick to the big three, so to speak, but like never ever rule this one out. I know that it's a bit of a journey to get there from Amsterdam airport and what have you, but for me it is well worth the journey. So yeah, definitely get Euroborg, the home of Groningen, on your list. And number 5 is the Allianz Stadion, the home of Rapid Vienna in Austria. A ground that I went to a little bit before the channel's time, but all the same, what an experience it was. I ended up stood with the Ultras at this game against Hartberger, which they fell to a pretty disappointing 2-2 draw. They were 2-0 up, but were pegged back. But other than that, it was a really good experience, a really nice kind of new stadium as well. Yeah, the fans were absolutely tremendous that night. So yeah, they're definitely one of my favourite European experiences today. A bit of a shame I wasn't doing YouTube at the time, because when I think back now, that's one of those that I would have loved to have brought to you. But nevertheless, you can go out and experience it for yourself, and I definitely would recommend you do that. At number 4, I think it's now called the New Balance Arena, but all the same, it is the home of Atalanta in Italy. If you may remember me going to this one at the very end of last season, I was a little bit disappointed with the San Siro the night before, and yeah, I was kind of feeling a little bit underwhelmed going into this game, but that experience that I had that night against Parma definitely did make up for it. Atalanta were beaten on the night, but right next to the Parma fans who needed to win to guarantee staying up, and came from 2-0 down to do that. It was just such a good night, but I think that was Gasparini's last ever game as Atalanta manager. I'm not sure if it was known at the time, but there was the Atalanta fans were really good that night as well. Like a modern stadium by Italian standards. You do get a lot of quite kind of old, maybe even you would say run down stadiums in Italy, but they've modernised this one, but they've done it in a way that hasn't kind of ruined its atmosphere or anything like that. So they really enjoyed my time in Bergamo. So hopefully it'll be something that you guys can go along and experience one day as well. At number 3, it's De Kuip, the home of Feyenoord in the Netherlands, and the third Dutch entry onto this list. But again, it was a ground that after I'd seen Feyenoord play away in the Champions League earlier that season, it was definitely a ground that I wanted to visit on the back of just how good the fans were in said Champions League game. And I'm really glad that I did get there at the end of the 23-24 season. Their final game of the season, which was against Excelsior, which ultimately turned out to be Arne Slot's last ever game as Feyenoord manager before he took the reins on at Liverpool. A bit of a shame that one of the sections of the ground was closed off as a result of sanctions, I think, given by the Dutch FA, but didn't ruin the atmosphere all that much. And they've got to say a really classic stadium. Probably not really changed that much over the years, but it's definitely iconic. So get yourself out to Rotterdam for a Feyenoord game. At number 2, Signal Iduna Park, the home of Borussia Dortmund. Now, it wasn't actually a Dortmund game that I went to when I was in Germany for this. It was actually Germany versus Denmark in the last 16 of the Euros. But nevertheless, I'm so glad that I can say that I'm seeing a game at such an iconic stadium. Quite a big game as well. Despite the fact that Dortmund weren't actually involved in it, it's for me still quite something that I can say that I have seen a game there. And I was sat in the section which in normal circumstances would be the yellow wall, but that was a little bit different for the fact that it was the Euros. But I did the stadium tour at this ground about a year or so earlier as well. So a ground I've, strictly speaking, stepped foot in twice, but you just get a real feel for the history of the place. As we say, so iconic. I don't think, again, a little bit like De Kuip, they've not really done a massive deal of change to it over the years, so it's on a lot of people's bucket lists. And when I got there and I saw a game there, I could definitely understand why. And at number 1, it is the Metropolitano, the home of Atletico Madrid. Of course, I went to this ground when I played Feyenoord in the Champions League, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the game that it inspired me to go to De Kuip at the end of that season. But what an experience this was. Get yourself out to Spain for this one, because it's just such it's an amazing ground, I've got to say. I know a lot of the time, for whatever reason, more modern stadiums can get a bit of a bad rep, but for me, this just ticked all the boxes in terms of atmosphere, in terms of the ground itself. I just absolutely loved it that night. So, for me, of all the sort of grounds and games I've been to in Europe, this was absolutely my favourite. So, for me, Atletico Madrid definitely worthy winner of this list. And that is that for this video, and the reason I did this one is to maybe whet the appetite a little bit for what I've got coming up next week, which is, of course, yet another European trip. And for this one, we are heading back to Italy for the second time this calendar year. Got another 2 Serie A games coming up over there, so you'll just have to find out in due course what they are. But again, if you wouldn't mind just clicking the link in the description to vote for me for the best non-league YouTuber in the Non-League Bible Awards, that would be enormously appreciated. And I trust you guys tenfold on this one. You're all absolute legends, and you never let me down. So if you could just do this one thing for me, that would be unreal. But that is that for this video, and I'll be back on Tuesday night with Thornaby versus Berkeley Town. So we haven't really done a Northern League game in a while, have we? Just hope the weather holds out and the game actually does go ahead. But until then, take care. Cheers for watching. See you later.